What's up, team? Welcome back to the channel. This is not the content that we usually have on the channel, but I'll tell you how this cruddy old Chevy is going to relate to our traditional dirt bike ATV content. If you guys follow the channel, you know that I previously had a 1995 6.5 turbo diesel. We sold that a couple weeks back, and our other truck is a 2009 Duramax that has like a 9-inch lift on it and 37s. So it's difficult for me to get a dirt bike in the back of it, certainly when I'm running solo or when I have my 7-year-old with me. So I want something a little bit more realistic. This is a 1994 Chevrolet Silverado K1500. It's a short bed, but we're probably gonna be swapping out for a flatbed anyways, so we can get maybe 2 ATVs on it, we'll see. It has less miles than the 6.5 had, and it's a gasser, so it's gonna be easier to start in a Montana winter versus the old school diesel. It does need some work. We got a really good deal on it. We paid about $2,500 for this Jewel, but it idles really high right now. It has a bunch of check engine codes, and it just needs some general maintenance. All right, guys, as you can see, the hood is already up on it. We got a fair amount of fender rot up front. Some later model takeoff wheels are like 18-inch wheels. The interior on it is actually not horrible. Let's take a look at that. It's pretty clean for the most part. It is the older style interior. I think they switched over to the newer stuff in 95. So this one's a little bit older, but somebody already did the upgraded stereo system in it. Captain seats with the center console and the back seat as well. And it's all pretty clean. It still has the original GM style floor mats. All the doors, the locks and windows and all those things work. It is a Silverado model, which at the time was like a higher model. Let's cruise around to the other side. I'll show you what's going on over here. We already got some parts and pieces off of it. It's got this sweet bumper that somebody welded, or brush guard that somebody welded to the bumper. So that's pretty cherry. This side's rotted out as well. We got some pretty questionable bodywork. And then somebody wiped out this whole side of the bed. And as you can tell, it's 2 different colors of white where they tried to fix it. So a little shadyism going on there. We got the hood up because we have a high idle issue going on. Sorry, I know it's a little dark in here, guys. So I checked it for vacuum leaks. I went around with it running. I sprayed some starting fluid. We did find a couple vacuum lines that were cracked. So I went ahead and replaced those. I'll try and get a light in here for you guys. But this little line right here had some pretty big cracks in it, so I replaced that. And the line going to the EGR valve on the other side had some cracks in it, so I replaced that. It's better, but it's still idling pretty high. There is a valve for the idle air control, which is this little guy right here. It looks pretty new, as if somebody already replaced it to try and fix the issue. And the clip on the electrical connector is broken, so I'm guessing they broke it when they changed out the valve. This little guy is your throttle position sensor. And I actually have a code right now that says the throttle position sensor is not reading correctly. So I went down to AutoZone, I picked up a new throttle position sensor for 44 bucks. We'll get it out of the box, we'll show you what that looks like, and we're gonna swap that out and see if that helps our problem. We also have a broken NOx sensor, a bad O2 sensor. Our coolant temp is not coming up to temperature. It's only running like 160, 165-ish, but this hose is really hard when the truck is running. So I think our thermostat is probably stuck and it's just deadheading pressure to the thermostat, I hope. If the hose is hard like that and it doesn't have a bad thermostat, we might have a bad head gasket that's building pressure in the system. However, there's no water in the oil, there's no oil in the water, and our coolant level is not going down. So hopefully we're okay. All right, guys, so whenever I do anything electrical sensors, I like to start by unhooking the ground wire on the battery. These are side post batteries. I think they're probably just a 10 mil, but I have this, oh, there you go, 5/16 side terminal GM battery. So they're 5/16. I probably way overpaid for this. I bought it off a Snap-on truck 20 years ago when I was working in a car shop. So let's start by getting this side off. All right, here's our new sensor. It goes right in the side of the throttle body. It'll be on the passenger side, just a single plug. And then you have two small bolts that bolt it to the throttle body housing. All right guys, the two screws on the side are T25 Torx bits. In the 90s, GM fell in love with using Torx bits for some reason. Drives me absolutely nuts, but these are T25. I'll try and get it in here. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. There's actually like corrosion built up inside of this little guy. Oh. Yeah, and it is very chunky when you try and spin it. So I'll show you the shaft on the side of the throttle body. I'll try and show you the shaft on the side of the throttle body where this hooks onto. Okay guys, this little shaft right here is where your throttle position sensor hooks onto your throttle body, and these two little screws are what hold it on. We'll get the new one on there. Let me see if I can. Here's the plug for it as well. So we'll get the new one on there, we'll fire it up. We'll see what we're looking like. Okay guys, got that sensor changed, and truck is now idling probably right around 500, 600 RPMs, which is where I think it should be. Hopefully now it doesn't bang itself into gear when you put it in drive. Check engine light is still on. We knew it would be. Somebody broke the NOx sensor off. I'm assuming when they're changing the starter, because it has a new starter on it. So we do have to get a new NOx sensor for it. That should help take care of the check engine light. And possibly an EGR valve. Oh, where my focus just went. Possibly an EGR valve and O2 sensor, but we're just taking it one fix at a time. So we'll run the code on it again, see if we still get a TPS sensor code. I don't think that we will, but we'll run it and I will check back in with you guys. Okay, if you have one of these older GM vehicles with an ODB1 plug in them, I'm going to show you how you can check the codes on it. You can do this by just using a paper clip. I made up a little jumper wire, so I'll show you what that looks like. But you're just going to jump, try not to get in the way of the light. You're just going to jump the far right-hand corner terminal to the very next terminal over, and I'll show you what that looks like. Maybe. Probably. Okay. This guy goes in here. This guy goes in here. And then all right, once you get your jumper wire in, you're gonna come up here and turn your key on. Just to the on position, don't start it. And your check engine light is gonna start flashing. It's gonna go 1, 1, 2, which means 12. 1, 1, 2, which is another 12. 12 just means you're in diagnostic mode. So that was 4, 1, 2, 3. So that's a 43, which is our NOx sensor. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 43 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Still 43. 1, 1, 2. So that means it's gone through the whole loop. It's going to give you a 12 a couple more times, and then it should go back to just saying 43 again. 1, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna go back to 43. All right, guys, let's very quickly go over what changing a thermostat in one of these older GMs looks like. This little guy with 2 bolts on it down here, this is your thermostat housing. You're gonna wanna pull that out, and there should be a little thermostat tucked right down underneath it. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this top hose. It's got this weird double clamp. That GM clamp is probably no good anymore, so they put this way too big of a clamp on there. So we're gonna take the GM clamp off, we'll put an appropriate size hose clamp on it. We'll take the top hose off, and then we'll change our thermostat. It's probably gonna make a mess, but you guys really aren't missing anything. We're just gonna swap it out and see if it helps with our hose being too hard and our temperature not coming up. Well, guys, these are the kinds of things you gotta be ready for when you're working on old stuff. It's how a quick and easy job turns into a nightmare. The right-hand side bolt that holds on the thermostat housing just sheared off. Luckily, there's a little bit left hanging on. So, I'll try and clean this up. Maybe get some penetrating oil on it to sit overnight. And maybe hit it with some heat. See if we can back it out. It's remarkably unlikely. It's probably going to be more like cut it off at the top, drill it, tap it, and hopefully not have to change out the intake manifold. Cool. All right, guys. Good news, bad news. Good news is I did get that thermostat housing bolt out. Got the thermostat replaced, got everything bolted back down and sealed up. Truck runs great. It idles down now like it's supposed to, thanks to the throttle position sensor. Heater works really good. Truck gets up to temp like normal. We do still have a check engine light. So that's some of the bad news, but I know what's causing that. The other bad news, the reason you get to see that is the memory card on my camera filled up at some point in there and stopped recording. So I do apologize for that, but let's take a quick look at what we've got done on it. We'll see how it runs, and I'll show you what our next project is on it. So we got the thermostat housing back in. This little guy down here with a 195-degree thermostat in it. We replaced the clamps on both ends of the hose because the factory GM style pinch ones weren't doing anything anymore. They weren't pinching anymore. So we got those replaced. We got our air intake system all put back together, and we changed the throttle position sensor on it. Let's fire it up so you guys can hear what it sounds like. So already way better, guys. Sorry, it's very loud, and I'll show you why. So here's why the truck is so loud. Some yahoo thought that this wasn't an acceptable muffler system. So it's just out of the cat. Comes back to this little stubby that they have kind of hose clamped over. So that's good. That's what you want. You want that free float exhaust. You know, you don't want to restrict any horsepowers. Free float, not free flow, free float. So, because I didn't have any hangers or piping or anything, I went down to the wrecking yard yesterday, picked this up off the exact same truck that had obviously been in a wreck. But even if the muffler is rusted out, at least it gets me all my bends and my hangers so that we can get this sounding somewhat better. Next on the project list, guys, I know it needs a knock sensor because whoever put the starter in broke the end off the knock sensor, and it needs a new O2 sensor, and then that should take care of our check engine lights. Once we know it's up and running good, we're gonna start doing some improvements on it, and let's talk about those. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I think once we get the check engine light taken care of and we get it up and running good like we want, our next thing is gonna be fluids and filters across the entire truck. So differentials, engine, transmission, transfer case. we'll get all that up to snuff. Then we still got to rebuild all the steering components on the front end. We're going to put a little leveling kit on it. That's why it's on jacks right now, so we can get an idea of what we're looking at. I think we'll probably do like an 1.5 inch level kit, and then we'll get another 1.5 inch out of upgrading to some 33s. That'll give us 3 inches overall. We don't want to make it huge because I still want to be able to load a dirt bike by myself. That's the point of this truck. So next video is going to be knock sensor, O2 sensor, and getting that exhaust on there. Then we're going to look at flatbedding it. We're probably going to build our own flatbed because I would ideally like to make it big enough to put two 250Rs on it. That way I can either take one of the boys with me or Haley or whoever. But that's the goal. I know this isn't our typical content that you guys usually see, which is dirt bikes and ATVs, but this and the old Duramax do haul the dirt bikes around, so that's why they kind of get thrown in there. I think I will probably start its own playlist, so check out the channel if you want to see some more of the old shitbox Chevy. We'll try and get her cleaned up and worthy of hauling some dirt bikes. Guys, like, subscribe. It will help your algorithm. It will help our algorithm. Thank you so much for watching. I promise next time we will get you the full video. As always, guys, thank you, and we'll see you soon.